Hello students, and welcome to your second rundown video for Hybrid Learning Week 2. In this video, just like last week, I'm going to cover every single assignment that you need to get done between now and next Friday, Friday the 23rd, by midnight. So pay close attention to everything that I cover in this video so that you can successfully approach and complete each of the assignments that need to be done this week. As always, number 1 is the Start Here video. This is the video you are watching now. Let's jump into number 2. So last week was all about practicing different note-taking strategies. And number 2 for this week is where you will complete and submit the note-taking strategy that you choose to use for the following assignments for 3 and 4. These are both articles, and you'll need to take notes on both of them using whatever note-taking strategy you decide. So let's take a look at this document here. So when you open up the document, you'll see some instructions. First, I want to make it very, very clear that I am not asking you to do both a mind map and Cornell notes. I'm not asking you to do both. That was what we did last week just because I wanted you to have some exposure and experience with both so that you could make your own choice in terms of which strategy you like best. I want you to choose either a mind map or Cornell notes for your note-taking strategy for the text that we're reading this week. Do not do both, just choose the one. Now, if we scroll down, the second page of this document is where you will upload a photo of your mind map. If you have chosen to do a mind map for your articles, this is where you will upload it. I want you to scroll down to the second page and you'll upload your photo here on the second page inside this box. If you've chosen not to do mind maps, you're going to skip this page altogether and continue scrolling. Here is where you will find blank templates for Cornell notes. So we are reading 2 articles this week, so you'll see 2 different templates. You'll see template for article number 1, and I need you to put the title there. And template for article 2, and again, put the title there. Now, I'm anticipating that you are going to need more than just this single page of notes. So it's okay if you're using up all the space and then this page goes into the second page. I'm not really concerned about that. What I'm really looking carefully at is how thorough are your notes? How thorough is your summary? I'm really, really looking for quality of thought and depth of analysis, and you can really show me those things with really thorough Cornell notes. Really quickly before I move on, I want to cover something that I'm noticing a lot in your Cornell notes is many of you are finding quotes from the text and putting huge chunks of information directly from the text in this space here. I know that that was a strategy that many of us used in practice when we did Cornell notes for the Geometry of Me project. However, that is not traditionally how Cornell notes go. You can absolutely use quotes from the text on this side here, but really keep in mind this space here is for very short phrases or even single words or concepts. So if there's a quote from the text that's particularly important, of course you can use that here, but be very, very careful and think about using this space wisely, right? So we're not necessarily just responding to quotes from the text. We're also pulling concepts, pulling ideas from the text. So don't limit yourself by just using quotes from the text in this space because A, you're going to waste a lot of space there. And then B, you're kind of missing the point, right? So we're not just analyzing specific quotes from the text. We're really analyzing the text as a whole. So more than quotes from the text. Put those quotes in your own words. What what ideas, what main points are being made by the author. That is what you want to put in this space here. So let's go all the way up to the top again. Just a quick refresher. You are not doing both. You're either doing mind maps or Cornell notes. You're going to choose your strategy and use either this page here if you're choosing mind map to upload your photo, or these pages here if you're going to be doing Cornell notes. All right, so that's number 2. Let's take a look at number 3. Number 3 this week is our first article. It's an article that's kind of introduces us to the concept of food deserts. So we're in this article, we're going to learn about food deserts, what is significant and worth knowing about them. And let's go ahead and read the instructions carefully. So I'm asking for you to read and record notes using, of course, number 2. But it's very important that we're using the strategies that we've been practicing all semester. This idea of pausing ourselves so that we have the time to reflect on the passages we've just read, decipher what's really important there, what are the big ideas, what's worth noting, what's worth recording in our notes, reflecting on that and responding by putting them in our notes before we move on, right? So really, of course, an initial read is important. But I really want you to slow yourself down and make sure that you're doing that process of reading a few passages, pausing, reflecting on what's important, and then responding in your notes. Again, you're going to choose either the mind maps or the Cornell notes, and make sure that this is done before Friday. Now, the article is here. And then off to the right here, what I've done this week is to give you a little support for those of you that like to listen along as the text is read aloud. I have recorded an audio version of this article. Now, it's there to support you. However, I am still expecting that as I'm reading, you are not just listening, but also reading along. And then, of course, in order to take your thorough notes, you will need to still pause, reflect, and respond. So make sure you're not just listening to the audio all the way through, that you're using the strategy and slowing yourself down so that you can take thorough notes. Number 4 is our second article. This one is about specifically how the pandemic, how COVID has contributed to worsened food insecurities across already food insecure neighborhoods. So you're going to read this. Again, I have an audio here if you're somebody that needs that support of listening as it's read aloud. You can use this as a resource, as a tool. But again, this is not something that I would just listen to all the way through just once. You're going to use this tool just as you would if you were reading on your own, slow and pausing and reflecting and responding. Now, our last assignment, the last assignment for this week is actually the USDA Food Access Atlas. So what I want you to do is go ahead and use the link. It's going to bring you to the USDA website, and you'll use this link here to access the Food Research Atlas. Now, essentially what this is a map. It's a map of the United States, but of course, we are going to be focusing specifically on San Diego. Now, of course, you can use this map and look into the communities that you want to look into. But for this assignment, I want you to zero in on San Diego. Okay, so this is San Diego. Let's take a look at this legend over here. This legend is going to help us to better understand what we're looking at. So anything in green, it says it's a low-income area where the nearest grocery store is more than a mile away for urban areas or 10 miles away for rural areas. Anything in orange would be half a mile for urban areas or 10 miles for rural areas. And anything in red is 1 and 20 miles. Now, yellow is really important too. This is a really important distinction. Yellow refers to access to vehicles, so having personal transportation. So right now, the only one that I have highlighted is this green one here, but if I recommend that you kind of play with these buttons and become familiar with the differences. And as you highlight or as you click on these boxes here, of course, your map will change. But what I want you to look carefully at is, first of all, do your very best. Where is our Mesa community? Where is High Tech High Mesa located? I want you to find us on this map and then determine where is the nearest food desert to our school community. Of course, you can also use this map to look at your own communities to determine the nearest food deserts near your home. But specifically, and in preparation for a discussion that we'll have together in person, I want you to try to use this map to locate the nearest food desert to our school. And also, take a look at where you're finding food deserts in San Diego. What are you noticing? What trends? What do you find significant or shocking or worth talking about? Okay, so as you're using this food atlas and as you're exploring and becoming familiar with food insecure areas in our own county, I want you to kind of take note of how you're feeling and what you're noticing in preparation for the conversations that we'll have together in person this coming week. Okay, so that is number 5. All of these need to be done before Friday at midnight. What I noticed was some of you last week really struggled to manage your time wisely and to use your asynchronous humanities periods productively. So please, this week, I would urge you to reassess how you're spending your time and reach out if you need support or if you need help. I have office hours on Monday and Thursdays from 1:30 to 2:30. So please, please, please reach out. I want to help you to be successful and answer whatever questions you might have and provide that direction. Yes. So good luck, and I will see you next week.